Hello, hey everyone, how are you? Good day, and I'm back with another video, which I created recently. So, since every one of you know that I also do a lot of mentoring and are involved with several of these mentorship initiatives as well as advisory role with several startups and founders are trying to get some funding out of VCs and some traction. So I recently sat with Gabriela. She is a MBA graduate and as well as a designer. As a UX designer, she had worked with several different companies as well as projects, right? And so I sat with her and understood how she and her co-founder are essentially looking at the product that they're building. So this was the first one because we would be meeting every week. We discussed very basic things, how exactly she want to structure her portfolio as a UX and UI designer because she doesn't want to quit her day job, right? And actually is trying to pursue a better opportunity, right? Uh, but the second part of our session was around um, the product and the everything that has to do with entrepreneurship and how they as the founders what the vision they have and a lot of reflection as well because I asked a few questions. Some of the questions essentially were around the product. Some of it was around vision as a co-founder and how exactly they want to position themselves and how the business is coming to play, the problem and all that kind of stuff. So this is to you guys. Let me know in the comments if you like it. Any questions that you have to me or to Gabriela because I'll be meeting her again soon. And I hope you enjoyed this video. You get some value out of it. And I would also request you guys to subscribe or react or leave any comment really because the more you guys engage with the channel, I hope more people would discover my channel and they might find some value out of it. So again, to you guys and looking forward to hear from you. Cheers. Bye.
Ottawa community to support young entrepreneurs in this space. But yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that idea as well. So two boats, and I kind of have to pursue both, unfortunately. But can I start with my portfolio?
Sure, yeah, and I'm very happy for the venture that you're getting into, and we'll discuss about that too.
Yeah, excited to share a lot with you today. Wanted to. Oh, I realized I should have gone to my other screen, but that's okay.
Sure.
Um, I just wanted to get. Hold on. Here, let's see both things. Uh, what time is it in where you're from right now?
So right now I'm in Dubai and it's 5:15 in the evening.
Are you still there?
Can you hear me?
Oh, I lost my audio. Hold on. Where did my speaker go? I wanted to get my. Okay, let me. I don't know why I can't hear you all of a sudden. It looks like you're on.
Can you hear me now?
Didn't like my screen connecting. Okay, try the other one.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Perfect.
What happened there?
I think it was just my computer being not happy with the
Okay.
display and too many inputs. It got confused where to channel the audio. But that's okay. I switched to my other screen, and this one, it seems less unhappy. Oh, come on, if I can get to it. How do we get to my other screen? There you go. The other side. Okay. not quite mapped properly. There we go. Okay, now it reappeared. Wonderful. Okay, can you see my screen?
I do not see your screen.
Oh,
I see it now. Something's
okay.
coming up. Yep, I see it. Okay.
Okay, so this is where my portfolio is at. It's very simple and basic, but I wanted to go with this grid theme and white background, and I just wanted to
Hmm.
explain my name, my 3 projects, and sort of like the things that I'm thinking of writing about. And then I have a few things. It's just images that I was going to just show as a gallery to get people more interested. That was sort of going to
Hmm.
be a simple splash intro about me. And then I have an example of a case study
Sure.
that I was working on.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my latest project that I wanted to showcase on RexNote. It's a PRN medication tracker. I don't know if you've ever
Hmm.
taken PRN pills in your life, but they can be extremely addictive.
A lot.
Oh, okay. So you know the pain of like how hard it is to not take
Yeah, yeah.
them.
So I actually have this, a situation with my back, right? And because of sitting all the time, I do have been prescribed few of the drugs, but I have stopped taking it because I feel that it's rather addictive, and I should stay away from the I would say synthetic drugs, and that's my own choice. Like um actually
Yeah.
do this, like I don't preach this, people should take the medicines that's been prescribed to them.
So my partner had the exact same issue. He had terrible back issue problems, and it wasn't until like he was on opioids for a while and
Hmm.
the methane one. Sorry, is it not methane?
Hmm.
Sorry,
Hmm.
morphine. And
I
then it was
understand.
until
Yeah.
his second cortisol shot that it was able to numb him out long enough to
Hmm.
build his ab muscles to be able to be strong enough to heal his back. So yeah, he had a herniated disc as well. It sounds like you had a similar story.
Hmm.
But that's kind of what inspired this project where I learned about his challenge and I realized it's really unsafe to take these medication. And I'm realizing my web it looked
Hmm.
actually a lot more centered in my last thing, but I went to a different screen and I'm realizing it's not responsive to that new size, so I have to fix that. But the goal of this app was
Hmm.
to just make
Hmm.
it really quick for people to just push a button and say, I've logged my dose. And that way it gives them a reference of how long it's been and teaches them when it's safe to take their next one.
Right.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's what we were trying to do. And we were wondering if, like, we
Hmm.
were surprised that nothing existed. There were so many pill apps on the market, but everything was designed for, like, how to not remember, how to not forget taking your next dose. And it's like never miss a dose, but instead, it never teaches you when did you take your last dose. And nothing was optimized for this experience. So we went to ask
Hmm.
Reddit communities. I already actually vetted this community. It's a chronic pain group, and it was known for being very sincere and supportive. So we got 98 upvotes on a concept that people have the same struggle. And one of the best workarounds was someone texts themselves when they take a pill and they just monitor with that. self messaging. And I was like, clearly, there
Hmm.
is, this
Hmm.
is not just a me problem, this is like a wider problem in the medical community. So I went to go ask a whole bunch of, are you still there? Can you hear me? Oh, not sure if I lost you. You're muted on my end. Okay, you're back, I think.
Uh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah, so we asked a whole bunch of medical community members to see if it's something that they might be interested in implementing into their system. And surprisingly, doctors
Hmm.
are not interested. Like anything large, big, systematic, they're like, I don't really care. I just prescribe it. And it was only at the
Hmm. Hmm.
community pharmacy level, not even the hospital pharmacy, but the rural and community pharmacy level where they had the one on one interaction with people that they
Hmm.
start really
Hmm.
being more interested. But the issue there was a lot
Right.
of the clientele was 70 and older. So they said, yes, this is really important, but a lot of our clientele aren't on smartphones. So we don't see this being a priority yet.
Hmm.
But it's coming. So I think it's coming in 5 to 10 years as people retire and get prescribed more of these medications or people get hurt. Hopefully that doesn't happen. The other thing was naturopathic doctors were extremely interested, and that makes sense because it's all the little things really make a difference in their world.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I sketched out my idea, I made a flow, I thought of like an avatar of like selecting your pill and then creating it, and I was thinking of like how to display the information. These are just some sketches. This is kind of the generic flow, and then I rendered it on Figma.
Hmm.
So this is how it would populate on your screen, and you would just select the entire button, and it would change the timing. And if you select this
Sure.
column here, it'll show you all the timings for that specific drug. But if you click on this timer here, it shows you the chronological view of all the drugs you've taken.
Hmm.
This is kind of a demo of what the avatar selection looks like. We designed it to be like really quick. We just wanted you to have the least amount of input. You don't have to sign in anything. Um, you
Hmm.
set up once, tell them the name of the pill, and then you add, and it creates this page. And this is the page that you log into every time you reopen the app. But the
Right.
big key feature was the widget window with the quick logging.
Hmm.
That's I think where the true value. We were trying to design a notification widget window so you don't even have to like open your app. You can just turn on your phone and it's there.
Hmm. Hmm.
So when you're in that
Hmm.
position, it's just easy for you. But yeah, we're in development. This is actually surprisingly hard to do. There's a lot of off-the-shelf components for like the play button if you're playing media, or for like just a quick message.
Hmm.
We're
Hmm.
actually running into a lot of trouble just actually getting a custom button made for this window, but we're working it out.
Yes. Yes. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So this is kind of like what I've been starting dumping my thoughts down onto a page and trying to. I also want to write a lot about my design theory because I find that I'm a very systems thinker and I need to I feel that not every designer is, and it's a unique perspective that I
Hmm.
need to express more. So that's something that I
No,
wanted
no.
to.
That actually is accurate because from the UX point of view, if you're more analytical and if you're thinking from systems point of view, um, and you have that ick um, for doing things very systematically, right? Because UX could be systematic, but again, UX could be very like ad hoc, right? If you do not do that right, or if you don't have the time to implement the system or do it systematically. Like, a lot of these projects and products are like, very ad hoc. Like, we have this problem, we need to do something around that, and this is the timeline and deadline around that. So what I liked is that you actually have a real time, like sorry, not real time, like real life problem, like that is relevant to a lot of people. And if I you know, put it in segments or put it in different demographics and put in different aged groups, right? Or personas, I would feel that this would be more this actually applies to like, a very wide spectrum of people and users, but also is very unique for the for seniors and for people who are at, on very like, so many different drugs and, is been battling with so many different diseases and stuff's going on, as well as for kids, right? For people who, it doesn't make sense for all these, prescriptions, and so everything's been there, everything's in the application. You can manage everything from there on. However, I do feel that, from the execution point of view, a lot of what we are designing and a lot of what we are proposing as a solution might be very hard, as you mentioned, to implement, right? So that really does not get into that quadrant of like, high value, low effort, right? Or maybe high value, medium effort, right? Because um, if a feature is hard to build but has a lot of value, then what happens is you burn a lot of resources to make it happen, right? To implement that and to realize that solution that way. Um, so maybe, think around something else. Think around maybe, integrating a simple WhatsApp bot, really, maybe, so that they get pinged that, in 15 minutes you have to take this
Mm-hmm.
medicine, right? Or reminder of sort, right? Again, think outside of your core function, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, the problem is not the actual design here. I think the problem could be solved using any service like that actually fulfills the very I would say fulfillment of your idea.
Right.
The second thing that I want to quickly touch base on is the portfolio, the layout, the storyline, as well as your homepage. So I would like to quickly give you a few important points on the homepage itself. Remember the last time, the last discussion that we discussed that how you need to position yourself differently, how you need to position yourself out there as um, I would say, as not maybe as an industry expert or as a thought leadership, because again, you need to have some credentials for that, right? You need to have some experience, some reviews, and a lot of experience. Sometimes, a lot of years. Um, but have a niche, right? And I am happy to work around with the health tech niche, right? Or EMR, EHR, hospital management systems, staff management systems, AI-driven bots to help with people and patients and all. Uh, but since you're actually looking at your portfolio and you're revamping it, I would like to share a few important aspects of how you can have a better portfolio landing page to actually stand out better, to convey the value that you bring to the team, why they should be hiring you, and to back that why, you should have some trust points and social triggers and social proof, right? So from what I remember from your portfolio, you have a great logo, by the way. Keep that logo, but keep that on top left, right? So that grid, everything around that. So I would, as a recruiter, I would love to know and understand who Gabriela is, right? Uh, so she's a designer with a business degree, right? She has MBA and she understands business very well. So that is an edge for you. That is I would say, a plus point for you that needs to be conveyed. And why exactly that would be a good, important element, aspect of you, and when you come into play as a team member, should also be very evident and written like just there that a designer who designed for users with a clear understanding of how business would work. So a sustainable design and business model is essentially what's come into play when you would design something, right? Secondly, I would love to know that, okay, so as a product designer, yes, Gabriela has some experience, she has done something, but what is the industry or the niche that she would be more focused in, or she has more interest in, or she want to explore. So again, there are a few. So this is a paradox. It's just like a paradox, like, people ask for experienced resource, right? And so what happens to the freshies, right? What happens to the people who are just graduated? Like, everyone is asking for experience, and you are applying to get some experience, right? So I mean, that's egg and chicken problem here. So that's a paradox of actually portraying what industry you had worked so far. Because if, for example, if you have worked with a healthcare and you want to explore e-commerce, right? You cannot actually, you if you write it down there, I have worked with healthcare and retail, but I don't have any proof to show for that. Then that claim it doesn't hold any water to it. Like, that's a false claim, really. And if you had worked in health tech for 5 years now, you want to move to a different industry, right? I mean, the problem arises that, they would look at you as a niche designer, and they would feel that, okay, so she had been working with patients and doctors, so maybe, retail would not be the right industry for her, and they might not take you for the designer they need. Uh, so this is very important point. We need to think this through, that okay, so the industries that you had worked with and the industries that you feel that you should be working with and you can add a lot of value to. So that industry, that niche should also be there, right? I had worked with several healthcare, e-commerce, and fintech applications, and you worked with them, but what was the impact? Right? What was the KPI? What exactly did you do? What was the outcome, right? And you can, in the second line, you can write that increase the conversion, reduce the, increase like user um, onboarding, increased efficiency by 2x for user onboarding, or something like that, ease out the retail process or buying process for another e-commerce application or website or retail shop by 12%, right? So these type of metrics that I feel that you being a design, an MBA as well, you will have a better understand of, what are the metrics that actually drive business and revenue, right?
I
Um,
do in a theoretical
so
sense, but I find that a lot
again,
of
theory is
people,
fine. As far as theory, you can actually, ask a lot of questions to AI, right? And it can give you something to work with, that, this in theory, and how exactly we can increase revenue with e-commerce, right? With e-commerce stores, and what really would be the problem with e-commerce that a designer can solve, right? So you can just expand on that. I'm pretty sure that you would get a lot of resources, handful of articles, maybe blogs that would help you guide what are the metrics that actually drive businesses
what would
and
you
what
say is the
you
best
ex
KPI for research? The impact of
for
research.
research. Interesting. Um, there are no KPIs for research, right? There are only insights, and you can then measure the KPIs based on those insights. Like, for example, one of the insights back in 2016-15 I came across was I was working in another health tech company. So I had worked with so many companies, as an advisor, sometimes as a team, sometimes as a um, hands-on designer too, right? So I was actually lead UX researcher with them, and I came across one senior person, a very old person in Pakistan, who did not understand English, who was very, like, who was not very tech savvy, who was like bit illiterate tech wise, and so we were actually defining the persona for this person, right? And we ran a lot of different quantitative, qualitative research studies as well as diary studies of, how a person like this would interact with a doctor and would go about his business and ask for medicines and how exactly he would take all that. So one of the very, very core important insight that we gathered was that people do not understand how tech works, right? I mean, this is very basic one, right? But the impact that this insight had on the overall UX was like fundamental really, because we had to change a lot, like the entire user experience, the entire user journey. Previously, it was more tech driven, it was more product driven experience, right? Later on, we had to incorporate a lot of user insights and made it not the very modern way, made it a bit more, I would say, legacy way of getting healthcare in Pakistan, right? And added language too, so previously what we thought that okay, this percentage of people would be using that, uh, we increased that up to some extent, right? Maybe, I mean, it was maybe 4%, but 4% with millions is a huge number, right? So you cannot have any metrics and KPIs associated with your research, but you can have different KPIs and metrics that you can measure based off those insights. And then you can tell that, okay, so based off the research that I did, this was the impact. And this is how valid my research was. And how, I mean, again, it's really not like validation or invalidation, because as a researcher, you would also be invalidating a lot of the assumptions, right? I mean, I made an assumption as a product manager or product owner, right? And you would go out in the market and you would ask a lot of people and do some research, and then you would be back note as you're bullshitting. This is not how they would be using the product. But this is how I feel that they should be using, because I identify that this is their core need. So one, two, three, these are their three core needs, right? And we have to do something around that, not this way. So again, research is rather, I would say, uh, ambiguous in a way, but if done in chunks, smaller chunks, biteable, actionable, then it's very important and relatable that a good product designer would have a good product and researcher, UX researcher on the team as well.
Yeah, I think a
So
hard.
that was the only part about your portfolio header. I have a lot of points, but I would love to hear your questions as well as you're speaking.
I think that was kind of like my issue when applying to roles. I find that I am very multi-talented and I can't, I love the research aspect and I tend to be, I want to actually brand myself more as a researcher than a designer because I am so much
Hmm,
stronger at that level. And
hmm,
I'm weaker. I'm a
hmm,
big picture thinker, and I tend to be better at analysis, whether it's qualitative or quantitative. But at the same time, I didn't
hmm,
actually study research. I studied industrial design, so I have some like weird loyalty in my mind that I'm a designer, and in my mind, a designer does both. And you can't be and
hmm, hmm.
what I have issue with though is Ottawa's design culture is so low in maturity that they connect designers with graphic designers. So they think of us as people who play with images and do pixel pushing, and you have only
Colors and all that. Yeah, I mean, just
portfolio.
change the colors of the buttons and that's it, right?
Yeah, it's very frustrating, and they think, oh, maybe that like changes conversion, and I'm like, but that's like the least thing that I'm most interested in. I consider them in my mind stylers, and it's not a real designer when you need to put the thought and the why and the intention. I want to be purposeful.
Correct.
So it's I've been having a hard time sort of articulating this and trying to communicate this niche to other people.
Okay, so actually, this is not the case with Canada or North America or South Africa or Asia, really. I mean, this is a global problem, first of all. Every region that I had worked in Malaysia, I had worked with people from Philippines, I had worked in Australia, you name it. Like I'm in GCC right now. I had worked with African clients, and most of my work had been done in for the North American clients, right? And I can tell you that this is a global crisis, right? But it gets resolved and people understands. The good thing is that people start understanding when you make reasonable points, right? You tell them and you educate them, and then they understand that okay, so UX is not like UI, right? You're actually not designing anything really. You're actually, it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more scientific now. right? It has a lot of like numbers and all that kind of stuff. So the second point, which was the first question of yours or point or observation, I think the future of UX is more fractional. And by fractional, I mean you have to be a generalist. There are a lot of these specialist roles are gonna get obsolete because again, AI coming into play. A lot of that is getting done by AI. So I feel that if you are the UX researcher alone and you do not know how to design screens or you do not know how to uh, define what a good UX is or what a good UI is and how people should be interacting and what are the accessibility issues with this one and A/B testing it and communicating and resonating with users from the emotional point of view. All this makes you a UX designer. And I worked as a core UX researcher. I worked as a core UI designer. I had worked with core UX UI designer. So I had seen this. Like I had a notion that, you have to be a generalist as well as a specialist of something. And whenever that opportunity, came up, I changed that or maybe learned some skills. But that did not stop me being a UI designer or a UX and UI designer or a UX researcher. So I think it's good that you have an inclination towards one thing. I'm not saying that you should be 100% at the other areas as well. Maybe 60% would be fine, but do not go that route. I would not recommend you to go that route, be specialist, design, or any field really.
This
Now
is
is the time that
kind
we
of
do not really.
confusing me with what you said to me earlier because you told me earlier you said I need to pick my niche. I need to specialize in something in order to get people to associate me with something.
Specialize in the industry.
Okay.
Specialize in the industry. So by niche, I mean the vertical, right?
Okay.
So I mean, I'm not saying that you could not be a good designer in fintech working with e-wallets and banking applications as
I
well as
really
health tech,
want to avoid
right?
that.
I have done it myself. Yeah, I have worked it myself, and I think I have been super successful with banking applications as well as health tech as well as e-commerce, right? Um, but when I said that you have to define your niche, it's not the role itself. I'm
Okay.
not asking you to be a specialist in one way or two. I'm actually asking you to choose a niche, a vertical, an industry. Either go with e-commerce or fintech or cloud applications or AI driven maybe, just like you're only designer in Canada and over the few years, you would establish yourself as the AI driven, designer who works on
But
AI and
everyone's
similar
gonna say
products.
that
Like,
right now. I feel like everyone's putting
oh
AI in.
yeah, I mean,
I feel like it won't help me stand out at
yeah,
all.
that,
Everyone's designing websites, and I feel this is like the problem with my field. It's like we're such a multidisciplinary industry or discipline, I guess,
yes,
and everyone's coming
yes,
in from psychology and marketing and behavioral science and graphic design, and I come from product design, and I feel like we all have a slightly different understanding of what UX is, but overall, like we could kind of agree. And because of that, I think hiring managers are having such a hard time understanding who we are and what they're
yeah,
what they're
yeah.
getting.
That is,
So yes, I did feel like I need to communicate. I did try to focus my
hmm,
niche on health tech, but then I came across I've been participating in a lot of like incubators and entrepreneurship circles, and I found a really great
hmm, hmm,
co-founder who I'm really strong in the front end of the double diamond design with research and designing criteria, and
hmm,
he's really
hmm,
strong with the
hmm.
design and development end, so he's more back end design heavy.
Sure,
So we were trying to start a design consultancy between the two of us, but
nice.
the pivot kind of happened when we realized how hard it is for small like freelancers like us to get up and running. So I want to show you our next idea
Hmm,
that we're trying
hmm.
to launch. Um, this is
Sure,
born
please.
out of
Yeah,
frustration, and this is. Let me know if you can see it. You're good.
I see it.
Okay.
Yes.
So we wanted to produce a product called Mandela. And Mandela is a
Okay.
platform where you are, it's like the one-stop shop for all paperwork duties for simple cases. So any
Hmm.
small business owner
Hmm.
who doesn't want to deal with the hassle of like scheduling and invoicing, payment reminders,
Hmm.
Mandela
Hmm.
is a smart back office that runs on auto. And this is our a very like loose sample of our dashboard, but you can go. We're testing our pricing to see if we get any bites right now. I've put
Hmm.
this on my social media. I have about 1,000 followers, so
Hmm.
it's not that big, but it's still we're getting some interest, and it sounds like we definitely know it's a huge problem. It's there's this is something that
Hmm.
a lot of people are complaining about, and I think the dream
Hmm.
is to make it so that we can almost crunch all of like CRMs, emails, schedule apps, project management apps, um, and not completely replace QuickBooks, but do like the tallying of all your invoices and expenses and payrolls so that you can see
Hmm.
cash flow um, in all in one solution. And I think it's important to do things
Hmm.
like, can we auto invoice and send it to the client? Can we ensure that when they pay that it goes into what verifies that it goes into our account and auto bills them? So a lot of those things are taken care of. And I
Hmm.
believe
Hmm.
that from my research, 90% of this can be automated with AI today. So I'm trusting
Hmm.
a lot
Hmm.
on my co-founder who's more has that tech mind, and he guaranteed me that
Hmm.
he can build this. So I was like, wow, I'm like I'd be really shocked, but yeah, I'm excited to launch, and I've been like trying to practice my pitch for this startup and trying to find some early
Hmm.
clients. But yeah,
I have a few questions, and I don't expect answers today, right? I'm just gonna, I would say, stir some questions here, right? Um, so I would love to know a bit about your competition, direct one, like your direct competitors, as well as distant ones. I would love to hear a bit more about your end vision with this product. You just gave me some vision of what exactly you guys are doing, but what really stands you guys out and edges you out from your competitors and QuickBooks and Calendly and all these CRMs and management tools, right? What is your USP? Third question, what is your USP? Why exactly they should be opting for you for maybe some other solution? I'm pretty sure that you would find some solution that's very similar to this one. So
yeah,
you need to come up with, why you, right? No, okay, that's good. Okay, great. So we are actually looking at blue ocean here, which is great. The third and sorry, it's the fourth question is, so have you, sat down with your ideal buyer, your ideal client,
a
and
few.
discussed what their needs are?
Yeah.
Okay, good,
So
good.
we've confirmed that. Well, I need to do more. We're planning to spend 3 more months doing research of collecting data, but for we've spoken to 5 different people right
Hmm.
now, and they all complain that they spent more than 60% of their week doing annoying paperwork like this. And it's so frustrating that they have this
Wow.
like workflow where it's like they do it for an hour and they get bored and they can't do it anymore, and then they procrastinate and then they keep going, and to the point, and
Hmm.
that's why it takes so
Hmm.
long, because it's so tedious and redundant, and they just want simple solutions. But one of the workarounds I found out was like this guy who sells breathwork sessions. He would have a CRM, a simple
Hmm.
CRM tool, but and it would produce him an invoice, but he wouldn't have a way to send it to his client. So how he would do that was take a screen capture
Hmm.
of it and then email it to his client. It's like, wow, it's like amazing that you have all this data, and yet the form isn't smart enough to use the email in the list to be able to send it. So it's like, I think it's like small
Hmm.
workarounds that we need to fix
Hmm.
to bring all the system and integrate it together to make it flow. The
Sure.
unique value proposition
Hmm.
that we're contributing towards is we're focused on serving services. There's a lot we want to. I don't know if you know Shopify. It's popular in Canada.
I
Sh-
know.
yeah,
Yeah,
Shopify.
yeah. We work with Shopify a lot.
We want to become the Shopify for services. We don't want to serve. There's a lot of apps out there for product solutions. We don't want to be a scheduler that says on this
Hmm.
day you'll send this invoice. We need a system that says when this project hits this stage, as in like uh, if the project is starting out, then the first thing it would do is create an intake form and uh,
Hmm.
create a proposal template. And then once the proposal template is signed,
Right.
then
Right.
like you have phases, right? There's no app out there that supports this
Hmm.
process for some reason, or it's very clunky. So we're trying to smooth and streamline that. So I know that we're not gonna like
Interesting. Very good.
yeah, we're not going to compete at the level of like we're not accountants, we're never going to replace QuickBooks per se, and their rules all the change all the time, but we really want to serve that solo entrepreneur, that freelancer, that starting out consultant, to have like a one-stop shop where they can run through a full client in our system
Hmm.
to keep
Hmm.
them organized, to
Hmm.
keep them, and then
Interesting.
yeah, we want to grow with them. So we're hoping to set them up to scale, but once they do scale, they'll probably need to be on more specialist platform, and then we'll recommend them depending on their growth to different. So we want to add
Correct.
on a consultancy.
Correct.
Yeah, but for the start, like we need this to
Ah, I see. So
ourselves.
that way, consulting that way, right? Okay, so that actually is not the agency model. We are actually, venturing into the specific nation, giving them consulting or services within that. One question. So, Gabriela, do you guys have access to any mentor right now in the university or in the same, like, the circle in Toronto or Vancouver?
We're hunting for mentors actually. Do you have a suggestion that you think someone would be interested?
I think I would have somebody, but I need to check with them. Because again, as an entrepreneur myself, I have access to people. Sometimes we work together, sometimes we do business, but sometimes we do not, right? But again, I think I might have somebody who might be interested. But so you guys are bootstrapping, you guys are low on funds, and you are just trying to make up something, right? I would recommend you, and I would actually ask you to be active on social media. And I'm not talking about Instagram. I'm actually talking about X and LinkedIn. Please speak up. Like, please, any problem, anything that you do, start documenting there. Try to connect with the people that you want to work with, right? I mean, people who you feel that would be interested in funding or mentoring, product like this, people who have worked in SaaS and cloud applications and invoicing and fintech and financial services, all that kind of stuff, right? Um, that way, when you guys are connected and you slowly and gradually start building your connections, you would start getting some traction. And people in your circle is extremely easy. To be honest, Gabriela, what I have learned from life is that you just need to show up and, say something like, me in this room with people, just tell them that I'm doing this. If anyone here would like to maybe collaborate or discuss or maybe mentor or just have some catching up, like what you guys think, what's your opinion. I mean, if somebody would not like have any input in your business, he would still be able to maybe give you some connections, and your feed or your post would be visible to them in their feed, right? I mean, in case they make some comment or in case they like some, or you react something. Um, so, and secondly, you being a founder, it's a completely different ballpark, right? Because you are looking for a job. That's the convenient part, to be honest. Being a founder is the hard part because you would have to ask for things, for advice or for funds or for so many different things, and you would find yourself like getting 60, 70 rejections, continuous rejections really. And yet you would be resilient that no, Gabriela, it would be fine. I'm going again out and speaking to people and pitching them, right? um, but try to think of something, a product that has a lot of value for users, that actually solve the real life problem, and have it, positioned so majestically that it gets organic traction. You do not really
Mhm.
have to market it to people.
Mhm.
And again, I myself, I'm a big advocate of pushing out B2B business SaaS products, because see, business is where the good money is, right? You cannot make something out for everyone and expect making good, big money. So try to position yourself B2B and get more people interested. If you get one person, I'm pretty sure that one person can get you two more, that those two more can get you four more, and this should be the way to go. And at the start of it, try to have 100 users, 100 paid users. Your product is a success if you make 100 paid user recurring subscription based. 100, right? I mean, that feels like very little. Sometimes it's huge, because if you're targeting $27, that's small, right? But other tiers, that's big money for them sometimes. But again, I feel that 100 users are very easy, extremely easy. You can do that offline marketing. You can do that, just meeting people in conventions and in, I don't know, incubation centers, or some gatherings, entrepreneurship circles, whatever. Really, I'm pretty sure that Canada, Vancouver, Toronto, there are people doing great work, really. So you would find some traction.
Okay, thank you so much. This was so fun. Yeah, I'll take a lot of the things that you said into under consideration, and if you could let me know what your contact said, I'd really appreciate it.
I would do. I would do. And I think we need one more session. I actually have a call in 3 minutes. I need to jump off. Otherwise, I would have kept talking and sharing more. But I think we need one more session to discuss, firstly, your portfolio, because while you're at this, while you're a founder, a co-founder, I also want to make sure that you have a day job, so that you can do some, like, 6 months, 1 year. I don't know when you guys would take off, right? But again, your expenses and everything gets covered. And then we would discuss more on the product landing page, because I feel there are a lot of improvements that we can do that.
Perfect. Thank you. I'd love to. I kind of scheduled
No
in
problem.
for a 4 week thing, so maybe we'll skip tomorrow, but the next Friday we can meet up.
Yeah, sure, that's perfect. Yeah, next week one, we will do.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great
All right.
day.
Thanks, Gabriela. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.